Hi, this is Lynn Langett.
And I'm Llewellyn Falco.
We're going to talk about teaching kids programming. In our day jobs, we're both programmers and programmer trainers, but during our volunteer time, we work with kids ages 10 and up, both girls and boys, at DigiGirls and teaching kids programming.
And in our work with that, we've done a lot of discovery of courseware, and we found a lot of things that look like this. It's sort of a lab. There's a program that you're going to type up, and when you're completed with your lab, it's going to produce a result that you'll see on the left.
And we really wonder with this prescriptive method what we're teaching, what the kids are getting out of it. They're able to copy the instructions and see the result, but what are they really learning? And in order for us to think about this problem and think about solutions, we're going to go to a couple different domains, and we're going to start with the domain of cooking.
I love to cook, and so one of the things I've done on occasion is teach people how to cook spaghetti sauce. And when you do this, a lot of times it actually takes the same sort of format as the lab above and something you'd see from TV. You know, you're going to get a recipe, my personal recipe for spaghetti sauce, give it to the person, take them into the kitchen, have them cook it up, chop it up, and when they're all done, you'll have something that kind of looks like spaghetti sauce.
Now, when I do this, sometimes it works out and sometimes it doesn't.
And the thing is that when it doesn't, a lot of times we have no idea why. So when I was teaching Lynn, I decided to start doing things like add a little extra oregano so she could taste how bitter it got. And then bring in the basil so she could see how it sweetened up the sauce. We'd also do things like add a little bit too much oil so we could see how it got runny, and then correct it with tomato paste. And in doing these different activities, we start to see the intention of what's going on inside of the sauce. And when you do this, you create sort of a MacGyver of cooking. Not only can you create the sauce, but you can open the fridge and there could be ketchup and cilantro and capers. And you'd come up with something that looks sort of like spaghetti sauce, but much more importantly, would taste good.
Yeah, it teaches a person how to cook. Now we're going to go to another domain, math. Now in basic math, kids learn how to solve problems like this. So you learn like how to do a percent, what a multiplication is, how to figure out the result. But again, is this good enough? So if we think about intention,
all we have to do to add the intention in here is to put the English statement that created this in the first place, and then show how the translation occurs, that of really means multiplication, that is means equals. And when you do that, you understand how the math formula was created.
And really, just like teaching someone how to cook, you're teaching someone how to use math. Someone could then take the formula that they had learned and apply it to a real-world problem, like figuring out how much their business improved over a certain period of time, because they could take the English and turn it into
the math. And even though the formula comes out slightly different, at that point they're equipped in the math to play in the domain. So you created a much more powerful mathematician and really added a lot more ingenuity to this person.
And now if we take these ideas and we apply them to teaching kids coding, the first domain that we're going to look at is the world of SQL databases. And in SQL databases, what we typically see is SQL coding and SQL information that looks something like this.
And this would actually come at the end of a lesson when the tension is very, very buried down there as to what this actually means. Now, we're dealing with 13-year-old girls, so we're going to make it so the intention is something much more interesting to them.
So what we do is we base our course on something they care about, which is searching for hot boys. So we give them the English, and then using the intentional method, we teach them how to translate it into T-SQL.
And one of the things to notice is that when you do this, when the intention is out there, it actually creates much more readable code. Right? So not only does the intention help the kids to understand things, but it makes everything just easier to understand in general.
Now we've also done this in the world of pure programming, and we use Small Basic. So we've created a series of lessons which we call recipes, and we have line by line English, and we have the kids translate one line at a time so they can understand the intention. Just like when you're adding an ingredient to a sauce, you can understand what that ingredient does.
And because we're showing the intention in the recipes, you can take each little piece and translate it. You can see how sure the tortoise becomes tortoise at show, but you can also run the code so you can essentially taste it and see the result. In this case, that the tortoise actually appeared.
And because this tasting or taking a look at the result is so important to learning, we actually teach the recipes in the order so that you can see the result of each line, which might not be the 1, 2, 3 order. Like in this case, we've got 1 and 6.
So the next time that you're doing a lab, we really encourage you to take a look at the intention, because it's going to create smarter kids, more MacGyvers.
And to see our work, take a look at www.teachingkidsprogramming.org.